Hello, my name's Tyler Virgin, and I'm going to be showing you how to repair the screen on your iPhone 11. First things first, I've got all the tools that we're going to need right here in front of me. First, you need to unscrew the pinna lobes. You've got one right here and one right here. You're going to take both of them, and you're just going to simply take both of those out. Set them right there. Set your screwdriver off to the side. You're not going to need that back until you open it back up again. Then for this next step, there is a slightly easier way to do this. If you are able to, I know iFixit has a tool where you can just simply throw it in the microwave and it'll heat it up. But essentially, there is going to be, again, the same as this water seal adhesive right here. There's going to be some glue that glues around the screen all around the edges. So what you're going to want to do is if you're able to, you're going to want to find if you can get like a heated bag of water. Just get like a real hot bag of water, place it in a Ziploc, make sure it's sealed so it doesn't get on the phone. But if you place it on top right here, it usually does get it warm enough so that you can actually remove the adhesive a little bit easier. But other than that, though, if you don't have that, you don't technically need it. I have gotten good at doing it without it, so you shouldn't need it. But the trick is if you're going to do it with a razor blade, you need to essentially think about using the razor blade almost just kind of like a lever. So you can kind of essentially think about it as if you look right here, there's going to be, you're going to see real close, if I don't know if my camera is going to be able to get up that close, but you can almost kind of see it where there's your frame right here, there's the silver part, there's going to be your screen, and in between there's going to be a little plastic piece. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your razor blade and you're going to want to take it, and first, of course, turn off the phone before the repair. But you're going to want to go ahead and take it and stick the razor blade in between the plastic part, which is the middle part between the frame and the screen. You want to stick it between the plastic part and the frame. Not between the screen and the plastic part, but between the plastic part and the frame. And this silver part right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to take it and just kind of simply, once you feel it click, should be fairly easy to feel it click when you get it in there. What you're first going to want to do is you're going to want to just wiggle it a little bit, and then you're going to feel that it's just going to kind of stick up like that. It's going to be fully set in. You're going to want to push it down like that. But next thing that you're going to want to do is instead of just keep pushing it down, instead you're going to kind of think of it as just kind of like a lever, because what you're doing is you're getting underneath the screen and you're pushing it up. So again, make sure that you've pushed this in all the way just to avoid any damage, and you're going to want to slowly start lifting it. It's going to take a decent bit of pressure. What you'll notice is your screen will start to bend, and you'll see the side of the screen here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to keep doing that, just all around the edges. Guitar picks do help if you have those. Again, they're not entirely necessary. Your entire goal is you just want to there's a bunch of clips around the side. You want to get them to unclip from the frame. So you just keep doing this. And just keep going all the way around the device. You do have to be a little bit careful specifically right here because there is a cable right along here. That's going to be a proximity cable. You are going to need to transfer that over. So be careful that you don't cut it there. As you see, there is just a little bit of a lip right there, as you can kind of see a little bit, that you're just going to be pushing your razor blade against up to. Again, you see that little screw right there. You shouldn't need to go any further than where that screw is right there to get inside the device. Alright, so then when you've gotten inside the device, you're just going to go ahead and again, You've got your volume buttons right here. These are going to be faced towards you, and you're just going to go ahead, lift the screen up a little bit, and then slowly, as you can see, there's a little bit of adhesive still there. You just go ahead, keep pulling. It'll just pull off with it. If any of it gets in your way, you're going to be replacing it anyways with that replacement adhesive that you have. So just go ahead and pull at that, get that out of the way. And then what you're going to want to do is first things first, just to make sure that you don't short anything out inside the device. You're going to go ahead and take your screen. Again, this is a little bit delicate right here. You want to make sure you're not tearing this cable right here, because again, this cable that's right here is very, very delicate. And if you break it, well, you're losing Face ID functionality on your phone, unless you take it to an Apple store and get that replaced. So again, just be real careful. But otherwise, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your Y000 bit, and you're going to go ahead and just go ahead and show real quick. Under these two cables right here, there's this little plate. This little plate right here is going to be what carries the, it's what's going to have the battery connector. You're going to want to make sure you take that out. First, you use your tweezers. Just go ahead, get in there, pull that plate out, go ahead and stick it next to the rest of your screws. Again, all three of these screws right here are the same length, so you don't really need to keep that much attention to what order they go in. But from here, you're going to take your black stick, and you can take, essentially, like the little flat part right here, and you're going to want to take it, and you see this little cable that goes right along right here. I'm just going to go ahead and take it and just flip it up, get it out of the way. What I like to do is I just take it and I just bend it back a little bit. It'll bend right back afterwards. And then now that your batteries is connected, you can go ahead continuing on with the rest of the device. So you just go ahead. There's this plate right here. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws right here. Alright, and then once you've done that, again, you do the same thing, just being careful. You just want to get the lip of this little plate, get it out of the way, pick it up, get it out of the way. And then for the rest of this, you're going to do the same thing with your black stick. First things first, you're going to get that prox cable out of the way. So it's this one that's right here. You can see. And then these are your two LCD cables, LCD and digitizer cable. So you're just going to go ahead and flip that up, flip, oh, just like so. And then, again, when you pull this up like this, you're going to get a little bit more that comes off. Again, no biggie, just take it off. Just remove as much of it as you can. So we're going to leave this to the side for right now. Set this over here, and then now you're going to have your screen right here, and you've got your prox sensor right here. That's going to have essentially your speaker, proximity sensor, and some other sensors that are going to be on the front of your phone. So you got to make sure that you're not damaging this, because again, if you break this, you're going to have to take it to Apple, and you're going to have to get the entire screen replaced, pay for an OEM Apple screen replacement from Apple, which tends to be a whole lot more than it is just doing it yourself. So first thing, this is where the Philips 000 comes into place. You're going to swap out your bits, go through, and then one by one, making sure absolutely that you're not going to be misplacing any of these screws. Once you get those 3 Phillips heads out, I'm just going to go ahead and use the Y000 again. There's just going to be this little screw that is right there. Be careful, you do make sure you get that out. There's just one of them. It's a tiny little screw, but if you forget about it, well, you're gonna be paying hell for that. So you just go ahead and get that out. Again, tiny little screw. Set that off to the side, keeping track of it. And then this is where the fun part comes in. Gets to be a little bit more difficult. And there's a little bit more room for error. But from what I've found over time is that if you look, you've got your cable right here. And then what you can do is you can get a good angle on that. You can just go ahead, and if you take your tweezers and you just run them underneath like so, and first things first, again, making sure that your tweezers are angled downward so that if you do scrape into anything, it's going to be the old screen and not the new one, or sorry, the old screen and not the actual proximity sensor. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it, you're going to run it starting from the left. You're just going to kind of run it along the bottom right here, making sure that you're not cutting anything, making sure that the tweezer starts underneath the cable so you're not ripping anything. You're just going to want to apply a light amount of force, pushing that up. There's a tiny bit of adhesive that's sticking into it. So then once you've got that up a little bit, you just go back here, remove this. There's a little plate right here. There is, as far as I know, there is absolutely no reason for this plate to be here, but you don't need to reinstall that on the new screen. Once you've got that up, it's all cool. Again, there's a little bit of adhesive right there. Next thing's next is, again, another fairly surgical maneuver. So you just take your tweezers and you're going to want to stick them straight in. You're going to want to stick them above. There's going to be a little plastic bracket if you look real close. The camera's not really going to pick it up that well. But if you just take it and you push it in, and you do the same thing as you did with the razor blade, trying to get underneath that little plastic bracket that's right there, you'll be able to push your light sensor out of the way. That's what this is. And then you can just, for the rest of this, take your tweezers, stick them back underneath, where this will come out. Sometimes, again, a little bit more difficult. You want to be careful pulling the tweezers. Just make sure you're pulling upwards and you're not putting any force any other ways other than up. That's how you break these things if you don't do that. But yeah, you just do that. Just put a little bit more pressure right here. Get that out. Again, just a small amount of adhesive right there that's holding that down. But now you have essentially finished the first half of the screen repair. And then you're just going to go ahead and you're going to take the rest and you're going to screw it all back together. So you're going to take your new screen. All right. This is a used OEM screen. Yours might have some plastic along the back right here that just to protect it during the manufacturing process. But you can just go ahead and remove that plastic from there. You can safely remove that. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just take this. And again, you're going to want to line each of these components up. It's not too difficult. You just got to make sure you're not putting too much pressure on there. You shouldn't really break anything in this step. But you just kind of take it and you slide each slot into where it was beforehand. Just applying a gentle amount of pressure. Just essentially, I like taking my thumb and just sticking it right there. Make sure that, because sometimes that corner likes to stick out. Just gets caught on there, so you just kind of maneuver it, jiggle it around a little bit so you get it to sit in just right. Get all these stat down, and then perfect. From then on, you just go ahead, push that back down. Again, just for a good measure, take your finger and put a decent amount of pressure right there where I am right now. Make sure everything sits in. If you feel something snap into place right there, good job. You just did a great thing. Saved yourself some hassle. But yeah, from then on, I'm just going to go ahead and repeat all of the steps that you took previously. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. And so when this is all screwed back in together, you're all good with this. Next thing is you're going to worry about the water seal. I like using these tweezers. You can just kind of, in a fashion, just go ahead. Again, making sure that you're not actually touching any of the inside components with these tweezers, because that is very easily could short something out. But what you can do is you just scrape at it. You can kind of take it and just, if you get underneath it a little bit, start twisting, and it'll all all just come out fairly easily. The iPhone 11 adhesive is not too terrible to get to remove. Just takes a second. Alright, and then once you have all of the old adhesive removed, you're just going to go ahead and take your new adhesive. Again, this is OEM adhesive. It's going to probably be a little bit easier for me than some of you who are watching this, simply just because a lot of aftermarket adhesive does tend to be a little bit of crappier quality. But with this thick sheet, it makes it a little bit easier to slide it in. So again, my recommendation is, same thing goes with the aftermarket adhesive. You're going to want to go ahead, make sure you line up these holes right up here. You can see there's little holes right there that kind of look like they're the shape of these little cameras right here. Easiest way to align them. Make sure you're doing it the right way. But then you just go ahead, you get it snug into one corner. You just kind of slowly take it. You just press it lightly. Again, it can be fairly difficult to do it perfectly every time, but as long as you've got a good enough seal, you should be all right. So then what you can do is you can take your black stick. What I like to do is you just kind of go around so that it doesn't stick up when you try to take off this intermediary plastic. Just go around the edges, lightly pressing down. I try not to hit any of these little metal pins that are like right here around the board. Any of them that look roughly like this one right here. Device is looking real nice. All your black's just sticking right where it should be. So what you're going to want to do is you take your screen. You see these little metal screws right here. There's like a little bit, those are where your clips are. These little things right here, this little metal thing sticking out right there. So what you're going to do is you take that little metal thing and you line it up, set it right on top of the frame so it sits like that. And then from here, you just take a little bit of pressure. You can just go ahead, re-put that little cable in. Make sure that you feel, should be a little click when you're pushing it in. It is a bit of an art getting these things to stick in properly. They are very small, and they're not always the easiest things. But what you can do now is go ahead, get this aligned, making sure that they line up just right. Yep, you feel a little click, usually is the best sign. Don't push too hard if you don't feel a click, and you might not be lined up right, and if you push too hard, you can very easily damage an LCD cable connector. And if you do that, well, if you do it on the phone, then you're screwed. And if you do it on the actual cable itself, then you're going to need to buy a new screen, and you're going to be without a phone for a little while. So again, just be real careful right there. Just go ahead and put that battery cable back in as well as I just did. And then you can just go ahead, re-put these plates back on, just like so. Try to get them lined up roughly right. Just mushing around. And then take your Y000 bit, and then in the order that you took them out, put them back in. And then for your last two little steps, you're just going to go ahead and take it. Don't push it down don't let it sit down too early, because then you'll start catching on some of that adhesive. But if you just let it sit down a little bit, you can just choose a side to start from. You start pushing things in. And then From then on, you should just be able to turn on the device and it should work perfectly good. If for whatever reason yours does not turn on first try, and you don't see that Apple logo right there, don't immediately think that you broke the device. Sometimes when you unplug the battery on some of these iPhones, sometimes they will simply, for lack of better words, they will just run out of the necessary power that they need to even turn on in the first place. And you will just need to simply take a charger, plug them in, leave them sit for a second so that they can get a little bit of juice into them to power up the main board before you can go ahead, press the power on button. But yeah, that should be everything that you need to know. Another little tip is if for whatever reason you're ever having an issue with your phone and you need to restart it, like for example, again, if powering it on didn't work, if plugging it in and then trying to power it on didn't work, you just simply press the volume up, then you press the volume down. Again, don't hold them at the same time. You simply press it in once, let go, press it in second time, let it go, like so. And then after that, you very quickly hold onto the power button, and that will cause the device to fully restart. But yeah, that should be everything that you need to know when we're completing an iPhone repair, and this screen is fully good and working. Now you can just go ahead and test to make sure you still have Face ID functionality by just simply, if you had Face ID set up beforehand, go ahead and test it on your face. You will have to type your passcode in the first time that it does restart, but after that, just go ahead and turn your phone off and then turn it back on again, and the Face ID should be working. If it's not working, then you did something wrong, or your Face ID sensor was already broken. But yeah, you are all set. Your phone is working.